All right, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rachak, Kodash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders, of great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, maybe you may be, whoever you may be, to y'all say Shalom. All right, so Joshua chapter 12 says, Kings defeated by Israel. All right, and I like this chapter because how it breaks, well, of course it breaks down, but just to mention here, and we'll get down to it so you'll see what I mean. There's a precept up here from Numbers 21. It says, Now these are the kings of the land which the children of Israel smote and possessed their land on the other side Jordan toward the rising of the sun, from the river Arnon unto Mount Hermon, and all the plain on the east. Okay, so reading into this, Numbers 21:21, and Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, Let me pass through thy land. We will not turn into the fields or into the vineyards. We will not drink of the waters of the well, but we will go along by the king's highway until we be past thy borders. And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border. Yeah, the Amalekites did the same thing. They were like, hell no, you ain't going through here. And they armed up and were ready to attack us, all right, if we were going to advance. Okay, I think that was the same account where we actually ended up fighting them, and then Moses, held up the staff, so we can win the battle. And went out against Israel into the wilderness, and he came to Jahaz and fought against Israel. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword, and possessed his land from Arnon unto Jabbok, even unto the children the children of Ammon. For the border of the children of Ammon was strong, which the Ammonites are the so-called Japanese people today. So their lands were on the east of the Jordan, on the other side of Jordan. I believe it was, if I'm correct, it was north of Moab, because you had Ammon, and then Moab was beneath that, if I'm correct. It's been around since I've seen the ancient Ammon on the map, but I know it's on the east side of that Jordan River. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon, and in all the villages thereof. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, even unto Arnon. All right, wherefore they that speak in Proverbs say, Come into Heshbon, let the city of Sihon be built and prepare. All right, so that was some history there from Numbers 21. Then it says in verse 2, Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, as we just read in Numbers, right? And ruled from Aroer, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from half Gilead, even unto the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon. Okay? As a matter of fact, let me see here. I might actually see if I can pull up Jabbok. Jordan from Lots through Ben Ami. Yep. Talking about the Japanese people. That was what the heck? They won't let me light it up. Okay, here we go. Actually, well, I got it now. Okay, looking right at it. See, yep, see. As a matter of fact, it's blurry. Let me see if I can punch it up. Okay, a little bit. So there you go, Moab right there. See that little dot which is Jericho. All right, because that's the Jordan River. Then you have east, right above Moab is Ammon. Okay, so bam. Kingdom of Aram, Damascus. Kingdom of Israel, Kingdom of Judah, Philistine states. All right, so on and so forth. All right, so bam, yep. So we got that. So going back, Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and ruled from Aroer, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from half Gilead, even unto the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon, and from the plain to the sea of Shinneroth, all right, which we just got that. I believe we got that in the last chapter. Excuse me. The early name of the Sea of Galilee, all right, wrong one. Okay, so a little up north. Okay, on the east, and unto the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, which is down further south, on the east, which, if you look at the Jordan, we pretty much connect those bodies of water, because Jordan is a long river, all right, northward and southward, okay? Even the salt sea on the east, the way to Beth Yeshimah, and from the south under Ashdoth Pisgah, the coast and the coast of Og, king of Bashan, which was of the remnant of the, there it is right there, I mentioned from the last chapter. I knew it was one of these chapters where I mentioned the giants, all right? So I want to just briefly, it's not even going to take long. And the coast of Og, king of Bashan, which was of the remnant of the giants that dwelt at Ashtaroth and at Edrei, okay? Let me see what these other translations say real quick. What scripture is that? 4. King of Og, Bashan, the last of the Rephaites, lived at Ashtaroth at Edrei. Let me see what AMP says. 4. In the territory of Og, king of Bashan, one of the remnant of the Rephaim, who lived at Ashtaroth at Edrei. Okay, so pretty much they're not saying too much, but still break it. Pretty much the point I want to get to says, in the coast of Og, king of Bashan, which was of the remnant of the giants. All right, so when you go into the word giants here, it's not talking about 50, 40, 60, 30 foot men, okay? 20 foot tall men, okay? Rephaim, all right, it was a, matter of fact, the old tribe of giants. And if you go, I'll get in a sec, I was looking at something. Okay, so if you go down below here, I'll show you this in the lexicon. I think it's in the, no, actually it's not the lexicon. Here it is right here. The Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. You'll see it right here where it says Rephaim, okay, Gentile, a very ancient nation of the Canaanites beyond Jordan, famous on account of their gigantic stature, all right, meaning their height, all right. As a matter of fact, I could lift that up because we'll bring it back up one more time. See, famous on account of their gigantic stature. Now, what was it? It's 13. Yep, 1332. Numbers 1332. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of what? Great stature. All right. Measurement, you see? Stature, size. The garment, because they were tall as hell, so the clothes would have been bigger, right? So there you go. Measurement, size. Okay, so that's all it means when it says giants. These were super tall people. And there we saw the giants. It's the word again. All right. The giants. Okay. Nephilim. Okay. Giants goes into men of stature. Okay. He even said the same thing about us in Genesis chapter 6, verse 4? Okay. The giants in those days, those were referring to those Israelite children, those men that were being born. But the point is, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, all right, the Anakims, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Just going to show you the difference, all right, in height. These were super tall people. See what the NLT says. So they spread this bad report about the land among the Israelites. The land we traveled through and explored would devour anyone who goes to live there. All the people we saw were huge. We even saw giants there. The descendants of Anak. Next to them, we felt like grasshoppers, and that's what they thought too. Okay, so bam, let's get the All right. So they gave the Israelites a bad report about the land which they had spied out, saying, the land through which we went in spying it out is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. Same word used there, great stature. There we saw the Nephilim, the giants, the sons of Anak are part of the Nephilim, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight. So it's just talking about great, strong, mighty men who were super tall. And once again, it says the same thing about, as a matter of fact, I'll just prove that real quick. It's not important to bring us into it, but since it says it, we'll just pull it up. There were giants in the earth in those days. You see? And also after that, when the sons of the Most High, all right, came in unto the daughters of men. So the Israelite sons bore children with the women of the other nations. That's what it's saying there. They bare them children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. See? So there you go. Just furthering the point that we made there. So that Numbers 13, 32, and 33 pretty much puts it in perspective what it means here when it says giants. And if we go back to the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it says it here again, a very ancient nation of the Canaanites, which, pretty much so-called, well, the Hamites, right? The so-called Africans today, all right, beyond Jordan, famous on account of their gigantic stature, okay? And there's really nothing else we need there. So yeah, see? So understanding what it means when it says giants here, so you don't get, taken away into fairy tale land, all right? Where to the place where you get it, all right? You just read, because in the world they'll push anything, and some people actually believe these things in the world, all right? You have people that believe that Satan, jacked up heaven and got kicked out and brought angels with them, all right? You got people that believe that there's angels chained up in Antarctica, okay, near the ice wall, which would also imply that the earth is flat and all this crazy stuff like that. But these are things of the world, man, all right, to steer you away from what the truth of the matter really is, according to the scriptures. So yeah, we covered that giants, and the coast of Og, king of Bashan, which was the remnant of the giants that dwelt at Ashtaroth, at Edrei. Okay, uh, Bashan, fruitful, a district east of the Jordan, known for its fertility. Excuse me, which was given to the half tribe of Manasseh, and Og, which Og's been mentioned multiple times now. Long-necked, the Amorite king of Bashan, and one of the last representatives of the what? Giants of Rephaim. See? Just talking about really tall people, man. Big in stature. And reigned in Mount Hermon, all right, and in Salcah, and in all Bashan unto the border of the Geshurites, and the Maachathites, and have Gilead, excuse me, and have Gilead, the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Them did Moses, the servant of Yahweh, and the children of Israel smite. And Moses, the servant of Yahweh, gave it for a possession unto the Reubenites, and the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh. If I'm correct, all three of these were those main warrior tribes of the Israelites. Now, all the tribes had their, certain, skill sets and, knew a little bit about war, save for the Levites. Now, I'm not saying the Levites just weren't, couldn't fight at all, but, that's not what their occupation was, okay? But the main, those that were probably served as the vanguard, all right, these would have been these three tribes here, the Reubenites, the Gadites, which both of those are the so-called Native Americans, right? And then you have the half tribe of Manasseh, okay? So all those were very skilled at war. If I'm correct, Issachar might have been mentioning those numbers. Judah, where it mentions where the men of Judah was taught the bow. I mean, come on, David was from the tribe of Judah. So all the tribes had their, particular skill sets when it came to battle, man. But let's keep going. But they were just, what point I was making is there were certain tribes who we just, those were warriors. Like, yeah, the what do you call it? The FAFO. All right, yeah. And these are the kings of the country which Joshua and the children of Israel smote on this side Jordan on the west, from Baal-gad in the valley of Lebanon, which Lebanon is over there on the coast of the Mediterranean, even unto the Mount Halak that goeth up to Seir. And Seir would be, from I guess from Lebanon there in that area, it would be probably almost straight directly southeast. All right, which Joshua maybe southeast, whatever, you get the point. All right, that go up to Seir, which Joshua gave unto the tribes of Israel for a possession according to their divisions. Going to show you back then, all right, it was already meant for us to have these things, but not on the level of the blessings of the kingdom, okay? And that's why understanding where our territory lies is very important, because that particular territory is allotted to us only and no one else. And then the other nations will, They'll be whatever and live however, because they're going to be our slaves and tributaries forevermore. And then even then, we're still going to own their land because we own them. So we're still going to own their land, because the scriptures say that we're going to inherit the whole entire earth. The earth is going to be under our rulership and control. So it's kind of it's no different from ancient times. It was just on a smaller scale, where a king would fight and win against that kingdom, and he would pretty much take those people into subjection and add it into one of his provinces, and then he'll fight another nation, and same thing. We're just going to do it on a global scale, and that's what Esau wants so badly. No one has ever actually achieved world domination, and Yahweh, while Yahweh Shah is going to be the first to do so, because the kingdom of heaven is going to be established as the first world domination kingdom, and it's going to be the last, because it's going to last forever. So it's going to be the first and the last of that. I almost said stature. Move away from that word for a second. We'll just get another word. If I can think of one of that magnitude. That's a good one. Of that magnitude. All right. So it says, which Joshua gave unto the tribes of Israel for possession according to their divisions, in the mountains and in the valleys and in the plains and in the springs and in the wilderness and in the south country, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The king of Jericho won. All right, so here, look, check this out now. It's about to break down all these different kings, man. The king of Jericho won. The king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, won. The king of Jerusalem won. The king of Hebron won. The king of Jarmuth won. The king of Lachish won. The king of Eglon won. The king of Gezer won. The king of Debir won. The king of Geder won. The king of Hormah won. The king of Arad won. The king of Libnah won. The king of Adullam won. The king of Makeda won, which we just recently went into that account. The king of Bethel won. All right, so there's Bethel twice. So as a matter of fact, let me pause right there. All right, Bethel. All right, Bayath Allah, house of the power, ancient place and seat of worship in Ephraim on border of Benjamin, identified with Luz, former name, a place in south country of Judah, not far from Beersheba and Ziklag. So if I'm correct, they just explained two different places. Okay, which is why Bethel is mentioned twice. Okay, yeah. There's Ephraim, that land there. Okay, Bethel, seen on the map, north of Ai. There's a Mizpah, Gibeon. Some of those names should look familiar there. So let's see. Let's go back real quick. A place in the south country of Judah, where she was Ziklag. Okay. Let's see what pulls up for this one. See if it's the same thing or not. See Bethel, but I'm not sure if it's a different. I don't think it's showing a different one though. Because I know there was a Bethel, further north, because when you go into the history of the separation of the two kingdoms, north and south, and because we always mention that the golden calf that was raised up, one of those was in Bethel, all right, which those territories went to the northern kingdom, okay. And some of these maps are just jacked up and blurry, so you can't really see too much of there. And if it is clear, it's not really telling you what you want to see or what you want to know. And we can always type in something like, was there two Bethels? Because it's possible. But it looks like it's showing the same thing for that definition. I'm not sure. All right. Because it says two different, ancient place and seat of worship in Ephraim on border of Benjamin. Okay. A place in south country of Judah, not far from Beersheba. Okay. So let me see. So if we get, as a matter of fact, let's do this. Ephraim, border of Benjamin. Web search that. Okay, and so you see Judah, Benjamin is following the show. Ephraim, Benjamin, Judah. Okay. And let's see what it says. Beersheba. Maybe I'll just get Beersheba. I was gonna put a law up, but let's just get Beersheba. And of course, they won't give us a good map. Yeah, see, that's the thing with these maps, man. Sometimes you can find them, sometimes you don't. Well, you kind of get the point, man. So I'm not gonna poke around forever. All right, so let's get back to these kings, right? The king of Jericho, okay? 1. The king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. The king of Eglon, 1. The king of Gezer, 1. The king of Debir, 1. The king of Geder, 1. The king of Hormah, 1. The king of Arad, 1. The king of Libnah, 1. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Makeda, 1. The king of Bethel, 1. And it's the same number. Okay. The king of, matter of fact, let me see what the other number was. Oh, actually, it's the same, really. Okay. Yeah. So the king of Tapua, 1. The king of Hefer, 1. The king of Aphek, 1. The king of Lasharon, 1. The king of Madon, 1. Of Madon, 1. The king of Hazor, 1. The king of Shimronmaron, 1. The king of Akshaph, 1. The king of Taanach, 1. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, 1. The king of Jokneam of Carmel, 1. The king of Dor in the coast of Dor, 1. The king of the nations of Gilgal, 1. The king of Tirzah, 1. All the kings, 30 and 1. These are the kings that were slain. 31 kings, and not counting, obviously, not counting their mass number of troops. Hey, men, women, and children, cattle, cities that were burned, horses, chariots, all those things. But the particular thing that matters the most is this registry of kings here, because you'll see sometimes in these heathens in their annals, they'll have certain history that's mentioned, and if you go to the right history where our history coincides, we'll be mentioned, and you know what? We'll be mentioned as a conquered people because that's history. Okay, so we can't really get mad at the black obelisk or whatever, Shalmaneser. Okay, it happened. It's history. It's all good. All right. But this is no different. Okay. If this history was written on an obelisk, it'd be covered on all four sides and showing all of these kings. Guaranteed. Because these are the kings that were defeated. It probably have some picture of Joshua at the top on one side, at the very top. And then on the other three sides, Israelite men. Okay. Maybe on two panels, warriors, and then at the fourth panel at the very top on the opposite side, probably have women and children and cattle and stuff like that. And then all the panels down the side on all the four sides below all those would be all these kings defeated. Okay, but I'm just imagining if this was on the obelisk, what it would probably look like. But this is a registry of kings that were defeated because why? One simple thing: the Lord promised, and He said, "Go." And the victory is already yours. All right. So just still chronicling these, because these were actual when the Lord promised us the land, it wasn't just land, whoop, pop, we just dropped down there. No, we actually had to take action, military campaigns, man. Okay, men of war stepped up to gain access to the lands that the Lord had promised. Okay, and like I said, as we move further on, it breaks down all those portions of land and what tribe was given what portion there, which is what we were seeing on those maps there from the tribes of Israel. So that's pretty much the end of chapter 12. All right. So, Lord willing, you edify. To next thing, I'm sure I'm going to say shalom.